This is a podcast for waking up the dreamers of the world. Are you a dreamer? Do you see yourself as a visionary here to fulfill your life's sacred purpose?
Do you believe your higher self is leaving you clues to life every night in your dreams? I'm Patch.
And I'm Sara, and we're certified specialists in the subconscious mind. Every week we show you how to step beyond the physical and tap into the power of your mind.
We're here to help you discover your spiritual gifts and to wake up. Welcome to Dream Lovers. Welcome to the Dream Lovers podcast. I am one of your hosts. My name is Patch Drury, and with me, as always, is my partner in life and crime and dream analysis and everything, the beautiful, the lovely Sara Drury.
Welcome to our podcast. We're so happy to be here.
Yeah, and glad that you're here too. And this week we're going to be analyzing a dream, the dream of a listener.
We're back with a dream, some
back with a dream
content.
And this one is really good. And it's also, I've got to work with the dreamer on the topic of on the dream, on the message of the dream. And so I can give you some back end insight into where it all ended up pointing to.
That's right. So for those who don't know, we actually have a group where we dive into, among many things, we dive into dream work as well and do dream, I wouldn't say dream therapy, but dream analysis. And we were talking about this earlier, how powerful of a tool, and this is actually going to come into play in this episode, but just how powerful of a tool that dream work is in uncovering and discovering new layers of what it is that we're working on for our overall kind of mental health, so to speak. And I was on TikTok. I follow this really amazing, I'm going to give her a little shout out, really amazing therapist who she specifically works with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So she works with trauma, and her handle is, cover your kids' ears, advanced bitches, which whatever. But she's fantastic. She's funny and really has some really good informative content around this. But she's a therapist herself. And so she also has a therapist, and she started working with a new therapist recently. She shared this all on her TikTok. And, and what she was saying is that they had been diving into dream work, and she had a dream where she was cutting up a credit card, and her therapist asked her, where in your life do you discredit yourself? And I was like, wow, that's really good. And this is the value of what it is that you can use dream work for, right? Like, I mean, we have, as Patrick reminded me, we have Carl Jung, who's the godfather of all this stuff. You care to weigh in on that?
Yeah, he's basically, he and Freud created depth psychology and this whole realm of talk psychology that therapists practice. And his building block for it was dream work. That's our connection, or Freud called it the royal road to the subconscious. So our dreams are the way that we connect with that hidden, sometimes troubling part of ourselves. And so, just to put me on the same level as Jung and Freud, my third rule for dream analysis is that a dream not applied is wasted. You have to apply it. And how many of us just have dreams and then go, whatever, it was a dream. And really there's information for your life and the decisions you're making and the way you're living and the choices you're making that a deeper part of you is saying, yeah, but what if we did it this way? And by ignoring that, we're closing our ears to some important wisdom, I think.
Yeah, love it. So shall we jump in with today's dream?
Yes, and I believe you have it. So do you want to read it for us?
I certainly do. Okay. A common theme of mine is powerful spirits in a home, cleaning and encountering the spirits. Last night, I dreamt that my husband and I sold our home, different than the one we currently live in, because powerful spirits were in our home. We were in the home trying to clean it up for the new owners. I was trying to paint an object when I felt a powerful, evil presence. I commanded it to leave, told it that it was not welcome. I, I got it to go in a pillow. We needed to throw the pillow away, and I went to find my husband, who was busy in another room. When I returned to the original room, the pillow had disappeared. I was upset and mad that we could not get rid of it right away. I tried to find it and entered a room filled with more bad spirits, and I began yelling at them to get out. I was frustrated.
All right. So a lot of great imagery in this dream. And I love the way the dreamer starts out and says that a common theme in her dream is that their homes filled with spirits and working in those homes and encountering spirits. And what that says to me, this person, this dreamer, is working on their life. So, homes can be a great metaphor for just our basic life, because what do? You live in a home. So you live in your life. It's the place where you do life. And spirits, spirit is another name for a ghost. When we talk about spirits, a lot of times we're talking about ghost. And a ghost is that when a person moves on, it's that energy that stays behind.
Yeah.
So it's lingering energy. It's energy that's kind of just hanging around that you can't get rid of. And so this person's dreams are often talking to them about the fact that as they're trying to work on their lives, they are encountering these energies that sometimes want to stick around, that they can't get rid of. Little hills they're trying to get over and little problems they're trying to get past. I think this dreamer is very lucky that their dreams are really keyed in on showing you, like, hey, if you want to move forward, here's the thing that may get in your way. And so if I were this person, and I know they are because I know them, paying attention to their dreams is really vital to their moving forward, and vital to all of us, but their dreams are speaking a very clear language, I think. And so the dreamer
and I would
says,
also say to that point is that this person has been actively working with her dreams to get to this point. It's and in fact, that's, why part of why this person started working with us is because she was ready for that. She was ready to dive deeper with understanding her dreams. And so if you're listening right now, you may be somewhere else on that spectrum. You may not fully remember your dreams or feel like they're still like a foreign language. And that is something that you can work with and get better at speaking that language when you're actively in process of learning that language, so to speak. So keep listening to this podcast.
when your subconscious realizes you're here for the conversation, then it's like, okay, well, let's talk then. And so the dreamer and her husband were trying to get the house ready for sale. And so if the house potentially represents different aspects of her life, does that mean she's selling her life to somebody else? Well, no. One thing you can kind of say is every person in the dream, it represents kind of a facet of you. And so selling your house to a new owner may kind of symbolize a new you. Like,
your life's for a big change.
Yeah, your life's being passed on to a new version of you. You're up leveling in a sense. And as she does that, she encounters an evil spirit. And so this is where a lot of people get wigged out about their dreams, and they kind of take them literal, and they're like, oh, am I encountering some evil entity or some maleficent, I always have trouble with that word, Maleficent.
I don't even know the word to try
Some
no, is that a different word?
I don't know, some evil creature. And again, I want to point out, the way I look at it, the way I approach it, is that these are all just aspects of you,
Right.
and some of the
Every
issues
part
you
of the
faced
dream is
yeah.
an aspect of you. Yeah.
So stories that you tell yourself and things that have attached themselves to you through your experiences. And so the dreamer encounters one of these forces, and the dreamer tries to get rid of it.
In a pillowcase.
Seems to know what to do by casting it into a pillow. And so when I was working with the dreamer, I said, the thing you really need to do then, the linchpin that this dream revolves around, is what does that pillow represent? Because the dream seems to be saying, there was a thought that this problem could be solved, this evil entity could be gotten rid of by casting it into a pillow. So what does that mean, casting it into a pillow? And one of the things we talked about is, well, what can pillows be symbolic for? And that's going to depend on the individual, but I gave some suggestions, like it could be sleep, resting. Maybe this was a problem the person thought they could get rid of by resting more. Pillows can be decorative. So maybe this was a problem the dreamer thought at some point they could get rid of by dressing things up a little and like paying attention to details in their life. One of the things I don't know what made me think of this when I was talking to the person, but if you remember Adam West in the old Batman TV show, he was supposed to look barrel chested and strong, but I always thought he looked pillowy. I thought he was kind of out of shape, and I always used to think of him as a pillow. And so for her, she's not going to have that association. But for me, I'd be like, is there anything Adam Westy here going on? But at any rate, in talking to this dreamer,
that would see, this is a really good point about everybody's dream has to be subjective to their own interpretations and associations with things, because Adam West wouldn't come into the picture for me at all.
Hardly anybody.
Exactly.
Like that's a very personal association. And so the point you're making, I think, is a great one. And I know this is not your bugaboo like it is mine, but the people who say, when you dream this, it always means this. I don't believe that. I believe dream associations are personal, and that's why dream dictionaries are next to useless, in my opinion.
Throw them in the trash.
Yeah, throw them in the trash.
You know what? And this is something that we have our members do, is make their own glossaries and start to make their own associations with things. And you can, as a listener now, you can go and do that. You can go and start to create that for yourself, because Adam West, that might be, if it was your dream, that might be a thread that we would want to pull on, and like, well, what does that mean to me? And what does that mean to me? But for this dreamer, we're going a completely different direction because of their personal associations.
Yeah. And when you're making a glossary, what's useful is what this dreamer described. She would say, I often dream that. Mm-hmm. And so what are the images that reoccur constantly? Those are the things you want to start your glossary on. Right. What are the dream? Because then when you dream with them the next time, you're like, oh yeah, that's in my glossary. I know what that means to me. Or I have an idea of what it means to me. But for this dreamer, when I suggested the pillow as the linchpin, the dreamer said, oh, well, that clears it up for me, because the dreamer had this issue that they thought, you know what? I'm going to let dream wisdom solve this for me. I'm going to I'm going to ask my dreams, which is something you can do. Give me an answer to this, fix this problem for me, solve this problem for me, give me this information. And so as we go on,
let's just pause there for a second, because where we're moving to, I just want to highlight that this is why we've even gone from just talking about dream on the podcast to really opening it up to more of life work and magical work and personal development and spiritual development, because dreams are one tool. They're one aspect, and they're an important aspect. And they are how you gain and get inner wisdom and deep wisdom about your life and answers to things. And that is just one part of the equation. So go ahead.
Absolutely. So the dreamer puts the spirit into the pillow, leaves for a few minutes, and then is going to come back to throw the pillow away, but then can't find the pillow. So the dreamer's strategy for getting past this problem, for getting rid of this thing, isn't working.
It didn't work. Right.
Yeah. And so the message here that the dreamer kind of was able to get was that this isn't a problem that you can attack with just dream wisdom. Dream wisdom represents our subconscious mind. And sometimes, at least in the world that I move in, sometimes we value the message of the subconscious over the message of our ego mind, our consciousness. And to be sure, it has additional wisdom for us. It's very powerful and informed and knows things we don't know. And so it's really important. But the trick, I think, is learning to marry the unconscious mind, the unconscious wisdom, the potential dream wisdom, with your ego consciousness. Make those work together.
Well, the subconscious is where you're getting the information, and then you use the conscious will to go create whatever change needs to happen. We have to do that in the waking world.
Yeah, that's where the application happens.
Yeah.
And so the message of this dream seemed to be you can't solve this problem just through dream work. That there needs to be some
information about what the problem is. You now know what the issues are, and there has to be it's like you're getting that message, you're getting that information, and then just like with everything, we have to go figure out, are we going to do something with this information? Are we going to go apply the information?
Yeah, absolutely. So comes back and the pillow's gone, meaning, the dream wisdom isn't solving this problem on its own. And then the house was full of more spirits. And I knew this person because of my experience with them. They don't have a religious background, but from my religious background, coming up in Christianity when I was a kid, I remember the story that a demon was cast out of someone, and then the person thought, "Oh, good," but then the demon came back, and it brought a bunch more with it, and so that is kind of symbolic of the fact that if we don't deal with our problems correctly, they will multiply. And that was the message to this dreamer, I think, is that if you just try to handle this on one front using one tool and you don't really attack this properly, it's a problem that's going to grow. It's going to eventually, it won't just be that one issue, it'll be a lot of connected issues. So, and the dreamer, like I said, they've been in our membership for a while and been mentored under us around dream and dream wisdom and how to apply it. And I was so proud because I gave the one suggestion of find out what this means. And from there, it was like this floodgate opened. And the dreamer was like, "Oh, it means this and this and this and this," it's just, and that's the way. Usually, if we can figure out what that one symbol is, then everything unfolds like a blossoming orchid after that.
Yeah, and then you know where to go with it, right? Then you know how to apply it and where you might need to make a shift or change in your behavior in the, again, in the waking part of life, because just the dream wisdom is so powerful. And part of why it's so powerful is because it's the information. It's giving us the wisdom that we need to make the shifts and changes that we need to make in our waking life. So And that's where I come in, right? Like that's my favorite part is talking about, okay, how do we do that? How do we then create the shifts and changes? Again, we can even make changes to the subconscious, and in the subconscious, that's, where hypnosis can come in around rewiring pattern and behavior and all of that, will assist you in making those changes. But just like with dream work, you can't just do hypnosis and change nothing about your life and expect everything to be different. But if you do the hypnosis, if you do the dream work, if you use the tools, and then you embody different ways of being, different behavior, different habits, different ways of showing up, as you said, really for her, it looks like possibly embodying this new version of herself. Well, what does that look like? Let's explore that. And so these are things that we can really take the dream, apply the wisdom, and then start to get better and, more effective results in our waking life. It's the cool.
Absolutely.
Thing. I love it.
Super cool. So that's it. That's the dream. It was a great dream. There's always, every time I'm presented with a dream, it's always like, oh, is this going to be the one that stumps me? Is this going to be the one that I have no insight into whatsoever? And I was really excited when I read hers. It was like, oh, there's so many great images here. There's so much to work with. And the point is never that, oh, let me solve this for you. The point is, let's talk about this together. Let's figure out what these images mean to you, and let's go from there. And so I love this work. I love being able to talk about these things with people who have, like everyone, a rich inner symbolic life. I'm into it.
Yep. And so if you have a dream that you want us to do here on the podcast, just go to dreamloverspodcast.com. And that is where all of our podcasts are live. They are housed there, as well as, of course, iTunes, Spotify, and all of that. But at the top of the page of dreamloverspodcast.com, there's a button that you can press to send us your dream. And we would love to hear them. We are excited to be back and better than ever, hopefully. But we're excited to go beyond the dream topic as well and talk about all of the important ways that all the tools that we can bring to our life to have the most magical experience possible, because that's what we want. And
we've started uploading these to YouTube, so check us out on YouTube. Look for us there. And if you feel like you want to look at us while we talk, then that's an option. There you go. All right. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you or hear you next week. Bye, guys.